First, did some YouTube investigators find Kiely Rodni in one day when the police spent 20,000 man-hours looking for her? Well, this is a somber moment when the SUV containing a body believed to be that of missing teenager Kiely Rodni was winched out of a California reservoir after being found by a group of YouTubers 2 weeks after she disappeared. Now, the footage shows the Honda CR-V being dragged from the Prosser Creek Reservoir on Sunday night, a stone's throw away from a campsite party where the 16-year-old had been at on August 6th of this year. Rescue workers were filmed pulling the vehicle partly out onto the shore before covering it with a blue sheet and taking it away on the back of a truck. Rodni was last seen shortly after midnight on August 6th, leaving a high school graduation party at Prosser Family Campground, telling her mother she was returning home. But she never arrived back, and a huge search party was launched, which originally involved 7 police helicopters and dozens of officers to no avail. Authorities are now under pressure to explain how they spend 20,000 man-hours looking for the missing teenager, only for a group of volunteer divers to find her in the reservoir right next to the campsite, submerged at a depth of 14 feet. Now, a dive group called Adventures with Purpose, who built up a YouTube following after they began to solve a string of missing persons cases, told authorities yesterday that they had discovered an SUV and a body thought to belong to Rodni. They spent less than a day searching the same body of water police claimed to have ruled out. Now, Rodni's family said they were waiting for clarification from officers on Sunday night before addressing rumors surrounding the find. As dusk fell on Sunday night, the silver CR-V was slowly winched out of the reservoir. A large crowd of officials stood to watch as the SUV was dragged towards the shore, emerging from the depths. Now, the Oregon-based group Adventures with Purpose said it was submerged in 14 feet of water and confirmed that they found human remains. Now, as the Honda came closer to the shore, officials waded out with a blue tarp to cover the vehicle and prevent items floating away or images being captured. It was dragged out onto the muddy shoreline, ready to be winched on a truck and taken away for further inspection. Now, on Sunday night, the sheriff said they were still working to identify the body and would release more details Monday morning. As of the filming of this video, an update had not been provided, but I think we can use our common sense, and more than likely, unfortunately, it is probably Miss Rodni, but we will wait for official word, obviously. Now, Placer County Sheriff's Office released an update early on Sunday showing how they had 7 officers and 7 helicopters in the hunt for the missing 16-year-old girl. They also said that they had scanned through nearly 2,000 tips in 2 weeks for the hunt of the youngster after she disappeared from the party. Now, the body of water was an area cops previously ticked off the list of possible places she had ended up after the event. Her cell phone last pinged around 12:30 a.m. near the campground's reservoir after she texted her mother to say that she was headed home. Her family runs the Lost Trail Lodge, a small hotel on the property where they live roughly 12 miles from where Rodni's body was allegedly found. Now, Adventures with Purpose wrote on their Facebook on Sunday, "We just found Kiely Rodni. Car is upside down in only 14 feet of water. We have confirmed Kiely is inside." They added, "Family notified, law enforcement on their way, more updates to follow." A source within the group said that they had found the vehicle with the human remains inside, and a dive group spokesman said the police told us they did a rigorous search of this body of water. They gave us a grid map and made us confident we didn't need to search here. But he said within just minutes of looking again, fellow diver Nick Rinn found the car and the remains inside. He said, "I went down and did my inspection. I saw the vehicle upside down, verified the license plates, that there were remains in the vehicle. Then I came out, we called the family and authorities and let them take it from there." He added, "Now the water has receded and we're seeing the vehicle went farther into the water than maybe the police thought. When a vehicle goes in the water, it has an air trapped in it for a while, so it will float for a little while before it fills with water and sinks." Now, a spokesperson for the family said at this time the family has no statement on the social media rumors from the reports on Sunday, and if and when law enforcement has a response, they will proceed accordingly. Now, the Placer County Sheriff's Office said on Sunday night, this afternoon, volunteer search group Adventures with Purpose notified us that they have found a car and a body in the Prosser Reservoir. The Nevada County Sheriff's Office, Placer County Sheriff's Office, FBI, and allied agencies are at the scene to investigate the findings. Now, the identity of the decedent has not been confirmed. This is a developing situation, and we will provide updates as we can. They will hold a press conference on Monday morning for further updates. Now, Adventures with Purpose began searching for her on Saturday. The group travels around the country helping solve cold cases. When you miss a loved one or a friend and you don't know, it's a nightmare, said Doug Bishop, Adventure with Purpose team leader. Now, Mr. Bishop said the team was in contact with local authorities and Rodni's extended family. Bishop led a 6-man team, which immediately began searching Donner Lake, believing that their approach and the fresh eyes could be of use. With 15 to 20 million viewers per month, there was an overwhelming demand, not only by multiple different agencies, all of our supporters, he said. Now, Nick Wren, a certified diver, reported they were trying to find new areas to explore. We're taking out resources and the intel that we've been provided, and we're trying to see a different avenue, different place to look, basically. On Saturday, they searched Donner Lake for more than 2 hours and investigating several areas where Rodni's car could have entered the water. The team checked out a couple of ponds in the Coldstream area, but Bishop said they were too shallow. They then went to the Boca Reservoir, putting 2 boats in the water where they searched for several more hours. There's multiple roads that lead here directly from Prosser, according to Mr. Bishop. Adventures with Purpose said they were thinking out of the box on Saturday, concentrating on areas that have not been checked out yet. It's tough, Bishop said. I don't want to find her. If she's here and something has happened to her, I do. I want to be able to provide the family and the community with answers so they can properly lay her to rest. Now, on Sunday, they moved to the Prosser Creek Reservoir and found her remains, they believe. Now, this comes after California and Nevada police combined local sex offenders lists for suspects in the disappearance as investigators exhausted more leads in the frustrating search for the missing teen. The FBI pitched in as well, helping area cops chase down 1,562 dead-end leads in the search for the blonde-haired teenager. None of the sex offenders investigated have been linked to Rodni's disappearance. Although one unnamed man was found to be in violation of the terms of his release, further details of that have not been shared. Now, sheriff detectives, probation officers, and the police swept local sex offenders lists for suspects and even arrested one of them for an unrelated charge. Police also combed their database for sex offenders, but found no one out of compliance with probation or parole terms. There were 200 to 300 people at the party, mostly teens and young adults, like Miss Rodni, who was an early high school graduate. Now, the Placer County spokesperson said investigators had interviewed close to a third of the party attendees, but hope to talk to more, and the Nevada County authorities have pulled in a ton of resources towards that goal of finding Rodni. Now, investigators have logged, like I said, 20,000 hours in the search. Now, the police spent a lot of time focusing on the clothing of Rodni because they thought that there was some sort of foul play taking place, and obviously that did not turn out to be what apparently happened. Now, this is actually more common than you would actually believe. We had a case here in not far from where our offices are located where a woman literally just disappeared. And one day there was some sort of retention pond that had receded and they found the car. She had driven in there. It was snowing and, what can you actually do? Anyway, so this happens. But this brings us to our quote of the day. The quote of the day is assume nothing, okay? I was told by one of my mentors, and he said basically, assume nothing. Whatever's on the police report, don't assume that that's what they're going to say unless and until you go hear it from them personally. Don't assume that the theory that you are working upon is correct, right? We've all heard of that assume means, it makes an ass of you and me. Now, I'm not saying the police did a bad job, but clearly somebody missed something where this investigative group from Oregon comes down and with a matter of a day searches the same area. So the police were headed down a particular route. They believed it was foul play. They didn't believe it could have been an accident. And who knows, maybe there was some foul play. I don't know yet. But the reality of it is, it's a shame that sometimes when they focus, they put all those resources on hunting down people that were sex offenders who'd done nothing wrong and basically shaking them down to see if they had done something, when it turns out it may have just been an actual tragic accident. It just goes to show you, sometimes the professionals don't always know everything, and you have to step back every now and then and maybe have a fresh set of eyes look at it. And when everybody focuses on a specific theory, they oftentimes don't look at what may be taking place. They just look for facts to support their theory. There's a fancy word, but really what it comes down to is sometimes people just follow their bias. And they believed in this case, it must be a bunch of sex offenders who did this, or at least one, right? Turned out they got it completely wrong. Assume nothing, ladies and gentlemen. Assume nothing when it comes to investigations. Like many Americans, we got a dog during the pandemic. My quarantine dog, Miss Winnie the Bulldog. Now, Miss Winnie has grown accustomed to being around us all the time. When we were leaving the house, Winnie would have extreme anxiety, so we decided to look for natural products to help with her anxiety. We looked for the highest quality CBD treats, and we were not satisfied, and neither was Winnie. So we created a high-quality CBD product that absorbs faster and provides the required results faster. Baked in Colorado, CBD treats and beverage enhancers are made with nanotechnology. The nanotechnology makes the CBD extraction more pure, also allows for Baked in Colorado products to work faster. Baked in Colorado products can help reduce your pet's anxiety, ease joint pain, and help with your dog's skin problems. Go to our online store and see what Baked in Colorado product is best for your dog. When you order at bakedincolorado.com, enter code WINNIE and receive 15% off your first order. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If your dog does not experience the desired results in 30 days, return the product and we will refund your money. No questions asked. Next on the docket, guess what? Now they want your help. Remember the parents of a young man from eastern Idaho who vanished near the Utah-Nevada border? Well, they want a different law enforcement agency to take over the investigation of their missing son. As you may recall, Dylan Rounds, who turned 20 on August 1st, disappeared nearly 3 months ago while farming in the desert town of Lucin, Utah. His grandmother spoke with him on May 28th, and nobody has heard from him since. There's been no sign of Dylan anywhere and no activity of his cell phone or bank account, according to his parents. Well, the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office in Utah has been the lead agency on the case, but Justin Rounds and Candace Cooley, Dylan's parents, believe mistakes have been made in the investigation and they are frustrated by the lack of communication. Quote, if Box Elder can't even communicate with us as parents, can't even pick up the phone once a week, why are they even working his case? Because there's no point. Now, Cooley says that in an interview with the newspaper. This is absolutely ridiculous. We should not have to beg for everything in this case, end quote. Dylan's parents said they would rarely hear from anyone at the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office. They were stunned when information the family was asked to keep quiet was released on July 28th on the National Missing and Unidentified Persons Systems. It said after Dylan disappeared, his truck was locked and the key fob was missing. However, the key fob was brought back and placed in the residence, which is Dylan's trailer, by an unknown person apparently. The information about the key fob has since been removed, and Dylan's parents were told it was accidentally submitted to the service by a detective, obviously by mistake. Rounds and Cooley say the day the key fob was found in Dylan's camper trailer, investigators didn't seem to care. That happened on day number 3 after Dylan disappeared. They didn't even think to treat it as suspicious. They didn't start thinking, something's not right. Somebody's bringing this kid's stuff back now and he's missing? No, nothing. They just continued on their merry way, according to Cooley. Now, Chase Venstra and James Brenner, 2 men believed to have interacted with Dylan in the days before he vanished, were arrested last month for felony gun crimes in Utah, and they have not been charged in connection with Dylan's disappearance. But Dylan's parents believe Brenner knows what happened to their son. Brenner was squatting on property near Dylan, and they wish Box Elder investigators would have questioned the neighbor immediately. Court records indicate that he was not interviewed until June 7th, 10 days after Dylan spoke with anyone. and Brenner had an arrest warrant at the time that Dylan disappeared. Now, Boxelder knew this. He could have been arrested on day one. Kiely argues, you have a violent criminal and you have a missing 19-year-old all within 100 yards of each other, and you don't even think, let's go and execute this warrant because we can get this guy to jail right now? The Kiely's talking. Now, Dylan's parents say investigators have never interviewed them, and in a letter to the Boxelder Sheriff's Office cite multiple errors, omissions, lies, and misconduct as reasons why they want the state of Utah to take over the case with the assistance from the FBI. Now, the Rounds and Kiely's have not heard back from the Sheriff's Office since they requested this change last week, but a spokesman from the Sheriff's Office said they are working on a response. They said, quote, we received their request but do not have a response from media outlets. We are now preparing a response to Dylan's parents. That was the Boxelder County Sheriff Chief Deputy Cade Palmer. They said that they are also currently don't have any updates or new information on the investigation that they can share with anyone. The case continues to be actively investigated by the Boxelder County Sheriff's Office with the assistance of other agencies. Now, as you may recall, there were lots of people that were looking for Dylan Rounds. There were lots of people volunteering their own time, and they were going to go out and help and assist law enforcement, not interfere with, but assist law enforcement. And remember, the family for Dylan Rounds said, we don't want you there. You're only going to interfere. You're not going to help. And guess what? Now this case is completely off the headlines. It kind of reminds me about the case that we talked about yesterday, the young girl that disappeared, Kiely Rodni. And guess what? The police looked at some place. Some experts came in, found the missing car, which turned out to, in fact, be the missing young lady. And I'm not trying to bash police in any way. I'm just simply saying they have limited resources. There's only so many hours in the day. Why would you not want citizens' help? There are so many people out there that can investigate. We're not talking having citizens go make citizens' arrests or anything like that. But if you have information or you come across information, you can certainly forward it to the police and they can do what they need to do to make an arrest. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with Dylan Rounds' family, like just go arrest that guy. Well, you can't arrest somebody or go search their house unless you have some sort of probable cause. So I get it. They're angry. They're frustrated. They miss their son, Dylan Rounds. But you had literally thousands of people that were willing to go look for him. Go look for your son to see what they can find out. Who knows? He could be not far away, just like the young lady just the other day. You have to assume nothing when it comes to these investigations. That's right. Lori Vallow is going to be famous, all because of Netflix. And I thought maybe it was going to be because we talked about her here on YouTube. Well, in the documentary, you're going to hear Lori Vallow being confronted by her oldest son over the murders of 2 children during a jailhouse phone call. And that's going to be aired in the Netflix documentary. Now, Colby Ryan, he's featured in the trailer for the 3-episode series called Sins of Our Mother. And you're going to hear how he questioned Lori about why she killed siblings, 7-year-old Joshua, JJ Vallow, and 17-year-old Kiely Ryan. Now, of course, we'll give him the presumption of innocence, but you know what I'm saying. Now, Lori Vallow is accused of obviously murdering her 2 children back in September of 2019, along with the help of her 5th husband, Chad Daybell, whose doomsday ideologies are said to have changed the mother. Now, her eldest son, Colby, asked his mother during the phone call, "Are you sorry for me or are you sorry for my siblings?" To which the alleged murderer responded, "Well, I'm sorry that you don't really fully understand the situation." The bodies of JJ and Kiely were obviously found on Chad Daybell's backyard in some shallow graves back in June of 2020 after it's alleged that Lori conspired to cover her tracks. Now, Lori and Chad Daybell have obviously both been charged with first-degree murder. Now, the documentary is to reveal details behind the murders that have not previously been disclosed, apparently, and a little insight into Lori's belief that convinced her there was a dark spirit inside her daughter and that the only way to free the spirit is to kill the body. In the trailer, you hear a voice that says, "Honestly, Lori and Charles look like they had the ideal marriage," a woman's voice says, but her beliefs had become a little bit more extreme. After she met Chad Daybell, she changed. Now, Chad's core beliefs were ingrained, obviously, in his apocalyptic teachings that shaped his world and eventually that of Lori. Now, he's believed he could distinguish evil spirits from good spirits and that there would be an apocalypse where only the righteous survive, according to the documentary. Now, Lori's doomsday ideologies appear to have influenced her actions as she apologized on the recorded phone call with Colby and claimed that he doesn't fully understand. I would never have thought that you would have done something like this, Colby tells Lori. Taken back by Colby's vague accusations, Lori questions him. What is it that you think that I've done, she asks. Now, the trailer revealed how Lori attempted to make it appear to the public as if her children were fine, even revealing a conversation she had with another woman and claimed her son was safe and happy. There is also going to be footage from Lori's past showing her talking to a group of people about the importance of being, well, a good mother. Being a good mom is important to me, and a good wife. Being all those things together is not easy, so I'm basically a ticking time bomb. Now, the 3-part series, Sins of Our Mother, premieres on Netflix on September 14th, as Lori and Chad are obviously prepping for trial. Well, I know, now I'm going to have to watch it on Netflix because it's work-related, and we can tell you if we think it's well done or not. We'll do that for you. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're going to be able to add that we don't already know to this point, but hey, it's worth me taking the time to watch it. First, let's talk about Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. Remember a couple of weeks ago when Lori Hellis filed a motion as an intervener, or just as a regular person, as the judge tries to refer to her as, somebody who wants to see what is being sealed, and just happened to call the court's attention to the fact that they're not following procedures in regards to the sealing of records that apparently are so prejudicial, will simply result in an absolute unfair trial. Well, guess what? Well, now the court and the prosecution is following forward on those procedures. What a coincidence. It's almost as if somebody called them out on it and they said, I guess we now have to follow the law. So the prosecution in Chad Daybell's case has filed a motion to seal that was dated August 25th, as of yesterday. And it states basically that they want to seal the matter, one, in the interest of privacy. The documents during this pendency of this criminal investigation in this best interest of justice and will preserve the right to a fair trial. The defendant's motion requesting permission to appeal 2 of the court's orders was filed under seal, and the defendant's motion relates to defendant's prior motions, including motions to disqualify prosecuting attorneys, motions to disqualify out-of-state prosecutor, motion to dismiss special prosecutor, and a motion for disclosure of Rachel Smith's cases, which were previously filed under seal, as well as the state's prior objections in response to the motion. Therefore, Judge, please go ahead and grant the motion because, well, we don't want anybody to know what we're talking about. The public doesn't have a right to know, and we're going to say it's in the public interest, although they can't define how or if it is in the public interest, which goes to the whole point of this stuff. Yes, there are certain things that need to be filed under seal, but motions regarding disqualification of the prosecutors, I cannot think of one. And I think the court has an obligation, as well as everyone else here, to say, what is the basis for this? Bottom line, that's what it comes down to, and they're simply not providing that. And then the court issues an order basically saying that the defendant's moving requests permission to appeal 2 of the court's orders in pursuant to the Idaho rules was filed under seal and relates to the defendant's prior motions, and they list them all again. And guess what? It is hereby granted, ordered, sealed. And then we have something else. The court issues an order, and it says, based upon the parties' request for an ad hoc status conference, ad hoc just simply means as needed, status conference following a hearing on August 16th. So remember the hearing on August 16th? That was the one about the DNA evidence and the protocols and things like that. I think they'd come to a conclusion. But there wasn't anything about the whole defendant's mental health. So when the court says that, after the hearing, they held an on-the-record conversation, that's a lot different than hearing. Now, the court held an on-the-record conversation with all parties. conversation, not a hearing, ladies and gentlemen, a conversation. And it states, including the defendant regarding mental health pursuant to Idaho Code Section 18-210. And you may say, well, what the heck is Idaho Code Section 18-210? Well, let me tell you what it means. This means lack of capacity to understand proceedings, delay of trial. No person who, as a result of mental disease or defects, lacks capacity to understand the proceedings against him or her to assist in his own defense shall be tried, convicted, sentenced, or punished for the commission of an offense so long as such incapacity endures. All right, so they had a conversation about that. Seems to be a pretty big subject. Based upon the previous order entered on September 14th of 2021, and after due consideration of the factors set forth in Idaho Code, or in accordance with the Idaho Rules 32, and finding a likelihood remains that both the state and the defense could be prejudiced by discussing or dissemination of information already sealed, the court finds that a compelling interest is at stake in the need to preserve a fair trial, and no reasonable alternative exists to protect the fundamental rights except to keep the hearing closed and the record of it sealed. Are you kidding me, ladies and gentlemen? If there is an issue regarding competency, why should the public not be entitled to be aware of this information? And the judge, apparently sua sponte, on his own, goes ahead and drafts an order saying that we're going to seal everything here before, because we're going to do everything in the dark here in Idaho. I've done hearings regarding competency. I've done hearings regarding NGRI, and they're all done in open records. Are you kidding me? What the heck is going on in Idaho? I don't get it. I don't know why they think everything is a big secret out there. It's not. It needs to be made public. Now, I'm pretty certain some other salvos are going to be filed in regards to the unsealing of records, and I think it's coming soon. And the one reason why the court and the prosecution is now suddenly following the rules as it relates to sealing the documents in the public record of cases of matter of public concern, guess what? It's because of Lori Hellis filing her motions. The judge may have denied her standing issues based upon some semantics, but I got a feeling we're going to hear from her again.